What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another week. So today is Saturday. It's a work day for me. You can see it's overcast, super humid. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I've got tons of things to do, so I'm just gonna bring you along, and I promise you, if you watch this video, you're gonna learn something. But before we go into that, I've got something to do. So this beautiful Ego E-steer is gonna go to a new home, and I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a cleanup here real quick, and then we're gonna take it over to its new owner. All right, there we go. It's all cleaned up, ready to go. So you all know me as the guy who dominates my neighbors, but what you probably don't realize is all that domination actually helps me to get to know my neighbors a little bit better, because we talk about the lawns and that kind of stuff. And a lot of them become lawn care nuts, and when that happens, sometimes they need mowers, and so I give them to them when I have one left over. A lot of you guys will ask sometimes, hey, what happened to such and such mower that you had? You had this mower, that mower, where did it go? Well, chances are I gave it away, and a lot of times I give them to neighbors. Now in this case, the neighbor that I'm giving this mower to, I already gave him a mower last year, but now his in-laws are in need, and so we're gonna give this beautiful E-steer here to his in-laws today. By the way, just look at this lawn. Beautiful. Let's check out his domination line. Checking out your domination line over here. Woo! All right, y'all, this is Art, my neighbor. He's the one that throws all the good parties.
I put the Art in party.
So there's the original. Art's been enjoying that one, huh?
Oh yeah, I mowed last night.
Right. You mow how many times a week now?
About once a week. It starts to grow. But just a couple weeks ago, I did 9 to 14 days. So I did, because I keep your app.
Yeah.
With everything I do.
Yeah, so it's starting to...
Because I can reference like, okay, I did, 7 days now.
Starting to grow faster. All right, good. Well, they're going to enjoy this one.
A few minutes later.
All right, we'll see ya. Now, of course, I gave this away because I want you to know what a good-hearted person I am, of course. But really, there was a reason I was able to give that away today. And so I'll show you what that reason is now. And okay, so there it is. That took much longer than I expected, because today is actually now the next day. Yeah, that took so long. So today now is actually Sunday. Everything you saw yesterday was Saturday. So I'm really going to only have time to do one thing today, and it is an important thing, and that is I'm going to put down some fungicide. Now, I'm always careful to tell you guys, I do not recommend that you blanket the earth with fungicides. It seems like a lot of times people see brown spots in their lawn, and the first thing they do is throw down fungicide. The second thing they do is throw down insecticide, and they just guess, and I do not recommend that. Let me tell you why I am putting down fungicides today. You see, for me, I haven't put down any fungicides in the last couple of years. I've been able to get away with it. But the fact that I'm gonna do it today, it should let you know that I've put a lot of thought into it before I just go and willy-nilly make this application. Let me take you through some of my thinking process that I've gone through to arrive at the point where I know I'm actually gonna throw down. So, when it comes to applying the ides, remember ides kill things. You know the word homicide? So we think of pesticides as things that kill things. Insecticides kill insects, right? Fungicides kill fungus. When it comes to ides, I practice what's called integrated pest management, and basically what that says is I do not apply the ide unless I feel that the target is going to cause a major problem or a major distress in my primary crop. Now my primary crop here is turf grass. I'm not a farmer where I am, I'm farming turf grass. And I do believe that disease, the threat of disease upcoming here is going to cause a major distress or a visual problem in my crop of turf grass, and therefore I'm going to apply the fungicide as a preventative so I don't get the damage. And so next you might be asking, well, how have you determined that you have a big susceptibility here for damage? And the way I've determined that is I've been looking at the disease triangle. So remember, the disease triangle is this. In order for a disease to manifest in your lawn, you need three things. Number one, you need to have a host. The host is turf grass. We all have it, okay? And I have St. Augustine grass, which is susceptible to disease. The second thing you have to have is the pathogen has to be present in the lawn. Well, I've had disease here over the years, Rhizoctonia, large patch in the winter. Sometimes they call it brown patch in the summer or large patch again. Either way, my lawn has had symptoms of it this past winter and then in past summers as well. So it is present in the lawn. The third thing you have to have are the right conditions, and that's what I've really been monitoring. I have here a humidity monitor. I'll kind of show you. Inside my house, the humidity is about 58%. Then when I went outside yesterday morning, it was in the high 70s. That's higher humidity. When I got home last night, it actually was just registering as high. It was so high, I guess that means 100%. And then this morning when I came out, same thing. It's just registering 100% high humidity. Now, right now, it's at 53%. Right? Is that what that? Yeah, 53. So it's a little lower than what's in my house, and it's dry right now. And this is actually our dry season in Florida. It's supposed to be low humidity right now, but we've had that high humidity the last few days. So that is the conditions coming in that are conducive to disease manifestation. So that's the three legs of our stool coming together are the host. The pathogen is in the host, we already know that. And three, the conditions, all of that high humidity, that's been out of the ordinary. And that's telling me the disease triangle has come together. And so what you guys don't realize, or maybe some of you do, is I understand what my local conditions are and should be. So here's the thing. We actually had a record drought on the west coast of Florida last summer. It's supposed to be our rainy season. Just so you guys know, in the summer in Florida, it rains every day for about 30 minutes in the afternoon. That's our normal tropical pattern, subtropical pattern. We didn't have that. We had a record drought. Now this winter, we are actually classified as being out of the drought because we've had so much rain. It's been an El Nino winter, pretty much opposite of what it normally is, because the winter is normally our dry season here and it doesn't rain. That's why all the snowbirds come here, because it's really low humidity, it's mild temps, and it's just beautiful here in the winter. But it hasn't been that way. This winter's been super rainy. As I illustrated to you, there's been a lot of humidity. Now today is a normal day, but the humidity is up and down. And so you can see that our pattern is off. It's not a normal pattern. And so with all that taken into consideration, I'm going to put down a preventative fungicide right now, because I believe that these patterns are going to continue to be different, off, and I do not need any more fungus damage. I've already got a lot of fungus damage from the winter, and we'll go take a look at that in a second. That's pretty much done. I'm not really doing this for anything that's in the past. This is for future outbreaks that, again, I've illustrated that those patterns are telling me. Look, I haven't applied fungicides on this lawn in over 2 years, but because of these patterns I'm seeing, these are out of the ordinary, I'm gonna go ahead and prevent now. That's integrated pest management. I thought through it. I'm trying to understand what do I need to do, and I'm understanding that because of the conditions, they're out of the ordinary, because of the high humidity that's not supposed to be here this time of year, I do believe I'm gonna have some issues, and because of what I had over the winter. So a lot of things all contributing here, and that's why I'm gonna throw down. But you understand, I didn't come at this decision lightly. I didn't just see a brown spot and decide to throw down. This is a preventative so I don't get any future outbreaks as we come into the seasonal transition of spring. Can you see that spot right there? See, that's almost all healed up. Just a few weeks ago, this was a lot of damage from past disease from the winter, but that disease has already stopped because we're out of the winter conditions. So it's stopped, and my St. Augustine has already started to repair itself. You can probably see a little bit of an indentation there, but compared to what it was just a few weeks ago, it's already started to repair. So the applications I'm about to do are not for the disease that you've been watching if you've been following me all winter. It's not for that. This is for future outbreaks that are gonna come as we go into the seasonal transition into spring. Okay, so we're gonna go through a couple things here real quick. I've got a fill sheet here and we'll look over this. What a fill sheet is it's got your product name on it, and then it's got your rate, but then it's also got your fill rate, because it's, for example, this propiconazole is 2 ounces per gallon. What that means is that this propiconazole, 2 ounces of this concentrate will go into each gallon of water, and then each gallon covers 1,000 square feet. That's a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, so it can cover 4,000 square feet. Since my application rate on the propiconazole is 2 ounces per gallon, then I have a 4-gallon backpack, that means my fill is 8 ounces. So that's what that means. So I just bring that out there, so all I gotta do is realize I just need 8 ounces of the propiconazole in my 4-gallon backpack, and this backpack will cover 4,000 square feet. Also, we've done a lot of updates. If you haven't looked, one of the biggest requests we had were new straps, which again, most of these updates have been done for a while. I'll link below to a video that'll show you all the updates that have been done to this over the last year and a half or so, because this is a brand new one I'm breaking in today. Okay, now the first section I'm gonna do is my Floratam St. Augustine grass. That's on the far side over there. And I'm gonna go ahead and use the old school bulletproof strategy. Now I have videos where I show you how to use store-bought products. I'm actually using the professional formulations because that's what I have, and I wanna be able to do this all in liquid. You'll see, because I wanna also spike in some spoon juice. But this is the old school bulletproof strategy. We use 2 different modes of action so we can attack the disease from 2 different angles, essentially, 2 different modes of attack. That's really the best way. And again, this is a preventative application. This is not for active disease, so I'm going with the higher rates. The first thing we have is propiconazole, and the second one we have is azoxystrobin. I've got my fill sheet right here. So the propiconazole goes down at 2 ounces per gallon, and I've got a 4-gallon backpack sprayer here, so that means I need 8 ounces of the propiconazole. Now I've got this filled halfway with water first, and that's what you want to do. And now this is what's called a tip and pour, so you can actually just use this top here. All you got to do is just, so you can see here, there's some in there right now, but you can see that that's graduated up to a 2 there. Can you see that? All right, can you see that? So all I got to do is tip this over until the juice runs in there enough to where I set it down and I'm at 2 ounces. So we're going to tip a little out. There we go. Tip a little out. And there we are. We're at 2 ounces. So there's the first one. Tip and pour. Tip. In there like that. Pour back. Ding, ding, ding. There we are. 2 ounces. See that? I'm pretty sure you can see that. It's that easy. All right, now there's enough propiconazole in there for 4,000 square feet. We're gonna go ahead and put the top on here, and we're gonna agitate slightly just to get that stirred around in there. Next one is azoxystrobin. Now this one we need 3.08 ounces. So that one's gonna be a little bit tougher there. And so I'm just gonna use a standard measuring cup. But you could still do it out of there. You can see it gives you the 2 and there's graduated, but on this one for me, there we go, 3.08. Agitate some more, just slight a bit. We're not really trying to go crazy. Okay, now the last thing I'm gonna do is add in some spoon juice. It's got a little bit of nitrogen, it's got some iron in it, got some sea kelp, and some humic. It's a little bit of everything. This is just gonna, I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. This is a blanket spray, so I might as well get a little goodness in with it. That's how I kind of look at it. Let me balance it out, because this is all good stuff, especially with those biostimulants in there. And this will give me a little kick of color too, with the slight bit of nitrogen and iron that's in there. So let's see here. We need 24 ounces of this one, because remember, this has a variable rate. You can do 3 ounces per thousand, 6 ounces per thousand, and that's what I'm doing, is that 6 ounce per 1,000 square foot rate. So I have 4 gallons, so 6 times 4 is 24 ounces. So I've got a little bit larger of a cup here. I don't know if you noticed, but I shook this really well. There we go. And that's one of the advantages to using a backpack, is you can do this. You can mix multiple things together, so you get multiple applications down all in one time. You only got to walk the lawn one time. Fill up the rest of the way with water. Go ahead and get everything through the line. There we go. Did you see that? Now we know all the mix is through the line. Okay, one thing real quick. So it can be tough when you got this full, because what's a gallon of water? Like 10 pounds? So that's 40 pounds plus the weight of the backpack's probably like 50 pounds. That's a lot to pick up and get over your shoulder. So what I like to do is elevate. You see I've got it elevated here on a garbage can. So now I can just come right into it and just step in. And those new padded straps are really nice, let me tell you. So there we go. Now I'm locked and loaded, and I'm ready to go. So some of you might be wondering, how do you know how fast you're supposed to be walking? And the answer is, you got to do what's called a bucket test. And I'll give you a link to a video below that I did last year, comprehensive training on how to spray with one of these sprayers, because it's really easy once you learn how to do it. If you've never sprayed before, it can look intimidating and scary. And people think, oh, liquids are gonna burn the lawn. Well, people think everything's gonna burn the lawn. But it's not. This is not scary. And this is actually a really nice alternative way to spray if you don't like using a hose end sprayer, or if you just want an option for something different than a hose end sprayer. But yeah, the walk speed's very important. And like I said, I got a video that I'll link below for you that talks all about that. Another question people ask is, do you need to use marking blue paint for this? And I don't. I can see where I sprayed, I'm paying attention, I'm wearing polarized sunglasses, which helps. But it's not that hard to see where the grass is wet versus where it's dry. I mean, just pay attention. The thing about the marking blue paint is it gets all over everything. It's really, really messy, so I don't recommend it. The other thing you're gonna find is once you spray your lawn like twice, you're a pro at it. Then you definitely won't need the marking blue. So it's training wheels, I guess, but I don't think you need it. Okay, now the next section I'm going to do is my Palmetto St. Augustine grass. And now Palmetto St. Augustine grass is fairly susceptible, more susceptible to gray leaf spot. And I haven't had bad outbreaks in the last couple years, which is why I haven't needed fungicides. But again, just based on the weather that I cited to you and the conditions, I believe that it's going to be an issue. So what I'm going to do now in this case is I'm going to switch up, and I'm going to use the azoxystrobin still. But instead of using the propiconazole, I'm going to use the Cleary's 3336. This is much better on gray leaf spot. And the Cleary's is 2 ounces per gallon per 1,000. So I'm only going to do a 2-gallon fill on this one because I'm just doing the Palmetto right back there. So I'm still using that same bulletproof strategy. I'm just going to use azoxystrobin along with the Cleary's instead of the propiconazole. And again, that is because my target now, while it is the brown patch, the Rhizoctonia, the large patch, it's also gray leaf spots. So just so much you can learn about fungicides, and I don't want to be the guy that encourages you with too much fungicides. If you haven't gotten that by now, I'm trying to tell you not to do them, but I'm telling you why I am after a couple years. So there's a quick overview there. I'm not going to make you sit through the rest of this. I'm just going to go and spray the rest, but I hope this has been helpful to you. If you do have questions, link them below. I'll also link some articles below. I've done a ton of blog posts and stuff on this, and hopefully that will help you. Real quick, y'all, one thing I did want to step in and say here. People ask me about watering this in. Now, you have to think about fungicides. Fungicides have a couple ways they act. They can be systemic. They can get into the plant and kind of work its way and protect throughout the inside of the plant, but they're also topical. They can also be sprayed on the plant and absorb that way and actually get on the spores and start to work against the disease that way. They can also work in the soil around the roots. So what I do with the liquids here is I spray, and then I'm just going to let my irrigation water everything in tomorrow normally. So they'll kind of sit overnight, the fungicides will, and kind of soak in, and then the water will get the rest down into the root zones. And so that's how I always do it with the liquid concentrates. Water them in the next day. The last thing I want to stress, again, this is preventative. I'm getting ahead of the problem that I believe is coming, and I mentioned all of the weather patterns, and I can see that disease triangle coming together, and that's why I'm doing this. So again, enough disclaimers. I hope you guys enjoyed. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'll see you in the lawn.